Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. I have not had more than 5 hours of sleep this week, which is rare for me. And while I'm sure somebody's going to hear that and go, Prof, Hoff, that's really not healthy. And I am delirious at this point. This charity, this mission, this hope that the Prof Hoff logo can be completely replaced and interchangeable because it's a symbol of gratitude for the people in your life that got you to where you are, is the greatest mission of my life. It's the greatest experience of my life. And I just want to do so much, but I just have a small human body and I can't do more than what it can do. And sometimes it can't do much, but it can hope. And the opposite's true with this game. Like, I had to contact my alliance this holiday weekend in America and apologize because I felt like I was slacking. I haven't done a Battlegrounds fight in 5 days. I have stopped caring about 12-hour events. I just want to do enough to get all of the milestones, and I will. Yeah, that's all I want to do. I don't care about the arena right now. I don't care about the grind. For the first time in my MCOC life of over 8 years, I'm at peace with slowing down. And it has allowed me to have a sense of gratitude that I haven't had for this community and this game in a long time, because I was running on fumes, and the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. And even though every day on this channel is a different day, I felt like the exhaustive grind had depleted my soul even more than 8 years of the arena had, even though that's a large reason why it's depleted. I'm so excited to start a new account. I'm not obviously ditching this account. This is still going to be my main account, but I need to start over and be reminded of those emotions that I experienced for the first time when I got my first 2-star champion. These champions are so bad for your ability to be happy with your roster because you rank them up now to be Ascended 6 stars and Rank 3 7 stars, only to match up against other Ascended 6 stars and Rank 3 7 stars, and your entire enjoyment of a day can be gone if you go to a Battlegrounds fight and you lose to the same kind of champs because your self-esteem goes down and your light goes down and the darkness comes in, the MCOC darkness. I want to talk to you today about the MCOC darkness because I don't think Kabam gets it. When MCOC was at its best, the best champions were 4 stars, at least to me. And yes, there were a handful of those that were Hercules-like. Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, OG Thor, Black Widow. Really, Avengers. But the game was so fun because it felt like I was going back in time and playing a version of Marvel vs. Capcom from like the late 90s that I used to play at Pizza Hut. And this was before relics and everything else. It was just a simple game mode with very little to do. But Kabam wanted to please everybody, and they wanted to please the whales, which makes sense because that's who's keeping the lights on. And so they just started adding more and more modes. And you go from thinking you can do everything in a day and you understand even how to manage your time, to being so overwhelmed by all the things you can do, and to have the difficulty now, even with those Rank 3 7 stars and Ascended 6 stars, really difficult, that the whales have never been more challenged, which leads to burnout, and everybody else is left behind because they don't have the rosters or the finances to compete. And that's a lot of people that play this game. A lot of people are just bad at this game and don't really understand this game, and they don't watch YouTube, and they don't go online, and they don't go on the forums. They just casually play. I have met several people from this community in person in the last 6 years, and so many of them I'm like shocked at how little they know about the things you take for granted in this game, because there is such a learning curve that you take for granted when you're a content creator and somebody that plays this like a professional, spends more time in this game. And the sad thing is, I think Battlegrounds makes you feel like it was not worth it. When you lose a Battlegrounds fight, it makes you feel like you've been scammed. That all these champs that you spent so much time and money and effort to aren't really that good because somebody else's champions are better. And that's not why we play MCOC. We play MCOC to do big yellow numbers with champions that we grew up loving on the big screen or in our comic books. And champions that now we get to hold in our hand and control in a fighting game. That's why MCOC is the best game I've ever played. It's because I get to do really cool stuff with Domino, somebody that I've never even given a second thought of outside of this universe. But now I do crazy yellow numbers that make me feel like I'm accomplishing something in my life. It's a goal of being my own superhero for a day. And I think if Kabam wants to get back to the spirit of MCOC, they have to understand that they've let a lot of darkness in the game because of the culture that makes your mental health beyond exhausted. But it doesn't mean that we can't get back to a lighter game. I think the arcade month is a genius. I'm so excited about even just that theme and that concept. And Omega Days really did feel like a return to the best of what MCOC represents. Everybody benefits in some way, from free-to-play players to the richest of whales. Even if you whale out, you're not going to be in a different place like you would be July 4th or Cyber Week of progression. And you have more reasons to get excited about new champions that join your roster, because when you have all the champions, like, the early access bundles didn't just change Battlegrounds decks. They changed the ability to be motivated to save shards and open featured crystals. Valiant players that spend $200 a month always get the new champions. And while that's cool to automatically have the greatest counter to, say, Bullseye, it actually makes me like the game less because it's not as fun. And yet, if I don't do it, I regret it because I could afford to do it. And now I don't know when I'm going to have access to that 6-star champ. So I can't not do it. And yet when I do it, it makes the game less fun. Somebody explain that to me. I just don't understand. I think it's unintentionally causing Kabam to realize that we have a mental health crisis in the community. And the crisis is a combination of burnout, fatigue, a lack of feeling like people are good at this game to the point. Like Kabam Jax's message about everyone's bad at Battlegrounds. It was so out of touch because you don't tell a kid that failed a test, because every time you lose at Battlegrounds, it's like getting an F on a test. It's okay, everybody gets Fs on tests. Someday you'll get an A. Keep your head up. If I told that to my students, they would look at me like, you out of touch jerk. And the sad thing is, I think Kabam Jax really thought he was doing a good thing for the community. I think he's been shocked by the blowback, but what he doesn't realize is that he's dealing with a toxic environment that Kabam largely created because they couldn't please everyone, and so in the end, they pleased no one. If you try to please everyone, in the end, you'll please no one. I cannot be more excited about starting a free-to-play account, which I will do on my 12-hour stream. And y'all, I've never been a happier person because I'm slowing down on MCFC, and that's been wonderful.